The corporate world is a lease with no option to buy. So you probably sat there scratching your head thinking, what does he mean? Well, when you work for a company, particularly if you're there for a long time, and this video probably is aimed more towards people that are working, but people that have lost their jobs can also probably relate to it. That desk you sit at, those hours you put in, or the overtime, maybe you have to work weekends. Well, that's like having a lease with no option to buy. That desk you sit at, whether you're in an office or whether you're at home, you don't own that desk. Well, I guess you do if you're at home, but you get my meaning. And the point is, when you're working, a company no longer has the loyalty to their employee like in days gone by, and probably even going back before my time. And you may think putting all those hours in, putting all that effort in, showing your loyalty, working those extra hours means something. Well, the brutal point is, probably doesn't mean much at all, to be honest with you. Not to the company. I mean, as far as they're concerned, you're there being paid to do a job, and that's what you do. You do your job. So those extra hours, the time you could have spent perhaps with family, or the time when you've perhaps been on vacation, you've received a text message from your boss saying, look, I know you're on vacation, just need this information from you, or can you just do that? Really sorry. And you do it. At the end, it means nothing to the company. Your boss might appreciate you more for doing it, but quite often, the bottom line, if you're like me, in my situation, in over 50s, and particularly if you've been with a company for a long period of time, you might have gone past that pay ceiling that the company would typically pay someone to do that same job. And maybe for whatever reason, you're not up for promotion. Either maybe you're not interested in promotion, or maybe the company feel that you're not suitable for a promotion, or for whatever reason. And that could be down to your abilities, or it could be down to something like your age and how you fit. If you've had any experience like I've had, it's not always about your ability that gets you the promotion. It's more about, let's just say, who you know. And actually, I can give you a really good example of that. Very funny, so bear with me on this one. I'll try and keep it short. But many years ago, when I was still living in England, I worked for a large health insurance company called Bupa. I was really unhappy in my job. I was young. I was probably 20, 21, maybe 19. And I was doing these cold calls, and I absolutely hated it, calling up companies to basically confirm their information so that a salesperson could then go in a day or two or a week later and call them up to try and sell them Bupa. And I hated it. I hated it with a passion. And so I spoke to one of my trainers at the company. And I said, I'm done. I'm going to quit. And she said to me, go and apply for this job. And I'm like, I'm not going to get that. It's beyond me. They're not going to hire me for that job. I've only been here 6 months. Why would they hire me? And she goes, just apply for it. I go, no, I'm not. I'm not wasting my time. I'm done. I am through. Then she looked at me. She said, Max, just apply for the job. I'm doing the interviews. And I was like, oh, got it. And guess what? I applied for the job and I got it. Who would have thought? And that proves my point. It's not what you always know, but quite often who you know. So if you're in that part of your stage in your career where you feel that you're not perhaps getting the opportunities, maybe your ceiling that they have for your position, you've gone past that and they've not even said anything to you, you should be aware of that, because now you're in danger territory. So in that situation, you want to go on the offensive, not defensive. And all the energy that you've put into working for the company, all the extra time, the overtime, the weekend work, maybe try and do something by yourself. Maybe use the effort and refocus. So if the day comes, God forbid, maybe you'll have something yourself that you can fall back onto, particularly in this day and age where it is so difficult to get another job. You want to utilize that time and utilize your experience. And when I say experience, also make sure that your skills are up to date with industry standard, should we say. But you really should start branching out and trying to create your own opportunities, even if you have a job, because there is a danger coming down the road that you may not have a job in the future. That danger is always there, regardless of whatever the situation is. But particularly if you know that you're of the age and you're being paid more than someone that is typically being paid in that same position. And I always suggest, if you don't or haven't used AI at all, get your fingers in, dabble around, play with it. It's an amazing thing. It's not perfect, by no means, but future employers will be looking for people with experience with AI. So make sure that's one of the skills that you develop. It's really important. I actually created a guide called the Reinvention Guide. If you're interested in it, just leave a comment below with the word reinvention and I'll get that to you. Now, I was never a Boy Scout. I was a Cub for a short time. I'm not sure what they call that in the US. Wasn't very good. But one thing I always remembered was be prepared. Preparedness is essential. God forbid anything should happen, you want to make sure that you're in a good place. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, reinvention down below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you the next time. Cheers.